One of these things is not like the other. No, sir, it sure ain't. We got us a bent rod. Yeah, can you tell which one? I'll go ahead and tell you it's the middle one. It ain't bent a whole lot, but it is bent. I got a solution. I'll tell you all about it here in just a minute. These rods and those pistons came out of the white Trans Am sitting under the carport. I know a lot of y'all have asked about that car. We will get to it eventually. Hopefully this year we'll get to it and get it back on the road. But right now let's focus on what we got in front of us. This one here, she's just slightly curved. Yeah, I got a theory of why that happened. Well, I'll just tell you real quickly. The white Trans Am, it has a, well, it ain't got nothing in it right now, but this motor had a supercharger on it. I was putting 7 or 8 pounds of boost to a 10.5 to 1 motor, and detonation could have caused that. Or it did blow a head gasket once. That could have done it, because it seemed like I remember I got in it, turned the key, and it went clunk. And that could have been it. It's not been a lot, but it's been enough that I ain't going to use it. No, sir. I hate it, too, because these are what is known as the powdered metal rods. Chevrolet started making them in early to mid-90s. They're a lot stronger than the old style, but we can't use them. If I could find one replacement, that's what I do, but I have looked for a day or two and can't find out anybody local that has them, so we'll set them to the side. If I find one, we'll put it there and we'll have us a good set of rods. The solution to this is in this bag right here. Let me pull one out. I'll show you the difference between them. The old school one has this balancing pad. The new one doesn't. See how much thicker it is right in here too than this. Well, it's thicker up here too, and it does not have the balancing pad on the top. See how smooth and round that is? The old school has that balancing pad. Powder metal are stronger than the old school, but this is what we got, so that's what we're going to use. The irony in this is there's 16 rods in there, enough for 2 motors. One set came out of the 307 that was in this truck. So it's kind of odd that it's getting its own rods back. That's pretty neat. I do have the rods and pistons that came out of that motor that we're building. They're right here. They are the old school type too. This is a 93. I don't know for sure when the LT1 started getting the powdered metal rods. I would have used these, but we're missing one whole rod and piston. And then that rod is missing the cap. I have no clue where they're at. It may have been missing the rod when I got the motor. That may be what was wrong with it. Might have been a rod, might have busted the piston. I don't know. All I know is we got a set of rods that we can use. That's what we're going to do. Let me clear this table off and we'll start putting pistons on the rods. I didn't have but 3 rod and piston combos left to take apart, so I figured let's just go ahead and finish that and then put these up to the side. I figured I'd show y'all how I go about doing it. Let me explain you my thinking anyway. The old pistons have 2 flats right here, and that makes it a lot easier to drive that pin out, but this don't. The way I do it is I will put it flat on here, and I got me a big bolt is what it is, to push this pin down as far as I can with this fully supported, because I don't want to bust the piston, because you never know, I may want to use them again. I have busted one of them though. I'll show you that in a minute. But anyway, I will drive it out as far as I can this way, and it should pop here in just a minute. All right, there it goes. It's going down. Anyway, I will drive it out as far as I can till that pin bottoms out on this. Then I have to move it. There it is right there. Then I have to move it over after I drop everything. Move it over where all you got is that little bit of piston riding on this. And that's when you go to busting them. There's probably a better, easier way, but I don't have that better, easier way, so this is how I do it. Anyway, if I'm trying to save the pistons is what I'm getting at. And I think I am, other than that one I busted. I think I've done a pretty doggone good job of saving them. But you got to get that little edge of that piston right there. And then you just go to cranking on it to push that pin out. The reason I don't do it like this at first is because that first push, it's a lot of pressure and you hear it pop. And once it does that, it goes pretty easily. And that's, you know, when I move it over here. There she blows. There it is. Let me get the other ones done and we'll start putting the new pistons on them other rods. Here's the piston that I busted getting the wrist pin out of it. Yeah, it's pretty much toast. Y'all look at this right here. This is the rod that we just got the piston off of. I believe it's bent too, slightly. It's hard to tell on camera. Yeah, it's bent. Let me flip it over and it'll lean the other way. Sure looks bent to me. Slightly, but I do believe it's bent. I may end up throwing that whole set of rods in the trash. The motor, like I told you, these come out of the Trans Am motor that's sitting in under the carport. I was not nice to that car, no sir. Back in my younger days, yeah, I drove them like I stole them. Sure did. I was rough on vehicles. Anyways, let me get this one off of the rod, and then we'll put the pistons on the other rods. I have chosen 8 rods. These are the special ones. They're the ones that's going in this motor. Let's quickly go over rod, piston, valve relief orientation. Valve relief are these two little things here. That's for your valves to come in here and not hit the piston. Let's say this is the front of the motor. This is the driver's side, yep. Be cylinders 1, 3, 5, and 7. Your valve reliefs will go to the top. That's just how it goes in the motor. They will go to the top, or to the valley relief, valley, what is it called? Lifter valley, that's what it's called. I have trouble with words, I'm telling you. Anyway, valve reliefs go to the lifter valley, and then your rod, remember I've told y'all before that, see these little tangs inside there? They go towards the outside or to the pan rails, just like that. Well, another way to look at it is one side of the rod will have a chamfer. It's hard to see that, but see that right there? That little angled edge? The other side does not. The reason for that is the crank journal has a radius, and if this was straight, well, it will rub that radius, and that ain't good. Anyway, your radius on the rod always goes to the left. Even if you are on the passenger side, which we are now, it will still go to the left. Just remember that. Tangs to the pan rails, another way to remember it. So when I'm doing this, we'll have the valve relief that way. I shall flip it over, and the valve relief will be to the left, and hopefully we don't get them backwards. Let's do a couple of them. I'm going to lube these pinholes with some Earl instead of assembly lube. I was doing some reading. One guy mentioned that some piston manufacturers recommend not to use assembly lube because it's thicker than oil, and it could prevent oil from getting in here on first startup, because these pins, they're not pressure fed. It's just a splash system that oils them. They got little grooves here. The oil gets down in there and oils them. So we're gonna use regular old motor oil to oil them up. Anyway, valve reliefs that away, flipper over, chamfer to the left. Let me clean my pin. Go ahead and get it stuck in here just like that right there. Get it ready. Now normally I would use my big torch. I'm gonna see if this little one will work, because well, not everybody has a big torch, but you can go get one of these at Lowe's pretty cheap. So let us see if it'll heat this up enough. It should, I think. But anyway, let's see if it'll heat that up enough to where that'll slide in there. All right, here we go with. Let's see if this is going to work. Chamfer to the left. I'm sure this will take longer than my big torch because I can turn it up. I just want to see if this will work. Let me see what that'll do. I don't think it's going to get hot enough, but it might. No, sir. Tell you what, let me just get my big torch out. We'll use it just to be on the safe side, because right now that is stuck in there and I got to try to drive it out a little bit. I don't have to deal with that, so yeah. I'm gonna get my big torch. That ain't stuck in there very much, so hopefully this right here will work. There we go. All right, let me get my big torch out. Phooey on that little feller. All right, let's try this again. I had to clean these up because they got dirty. So let me earl them up again. All right, valve relief's that way, flip her over. Chamfer to my left. Chamfer that way, let's go ahead and put the pin in. Right, heat her up. You don't want it cherry red. You don't even really want it a dull red, but that's the only way I know that it's pretty much there, is if it's just barely starting to turn red. I always get nervous doing this. I'm afraid I'm not going to get it lined up good enough. Then you're in a mess, because you got to get the piston, the pin back out. You run the risk of busting a brand new piston. All right, let's see what that does. Chamfer to the left. I do believe that's it. The pin does not have to be exact, but you want it close. We'll let that cool. Let's just make sure though, chamfer to the left, valve relief should be that way. Oh yeah, that there's good. Let's do another one real quick like. You might be wondering, how did I know it was ready? Well, I saw one little spot starting to get red. That's when I said, yep, she's ready. All right, valve relief's out of the way. Next rod, chamfer. Let's see, here's something here. The chamfer on this one is basically the same on either side. So that's when you go tang to the pan rail. So she sits in the motor like this. Make sure you're tang to the pan rail, flip her over. This side here is when it goes to the left. All right. I see some parts starting to get red, so she's ready. Oh yeah. Now let me explain to you how I get the pin lined up. Basically, I just use my fingers like that. Get it close on either side just by feel, and make sure your rod's fairly centered. Like I said, it don't have to be exact. And that's how you do it. I got 6 more to go. I'll be back in a little while. Pistons and rods are now married forever and ever. We're checking ring end gap now. This is how you do that. You take your ring right here, you put it down in the bore, and then you grab a piston over here. You use that just to square it up in the bore. I'll go down an inch or so, it'll be all right. Because if it's not square in the bore, then you'll get a false reading. Anyways, you take your feeler gauge right here. I got 16 by thousandths. You want 4 thousandths per inch of bore. Well, that's a little over 16. So putting a 16 in there. It goes, let's just see how big it is. Well, I don't have a 17 or a 19. Well, let's try 18. 18 goes, but it's a little tight, but that's more than enough. I got to do that with the top rings on all of them. I got to do it with the second rings. Then we can put the rings on the pistons. Ring gaps are checked on the first and the second ones. I had to file cylinder 3 and 6. They were just a wee bit out of whack, like 1,000th or so. I got that took care of though, so everything's all right there. Now what we're doing is putting bearings in our rods and checking clearance. This one here I got 2.5 thousandths. That there's 2.5. That one's 4. That's too much. Well, watch this. This one here, it is 6 thousandths. Let me show you. Let me show you. Put that little fella in there and y'all watch it. 6, 5 3/4, that's the best it'll do. Yeah. That, my friends, is more than double what it should be. I don't know if it's something wrong with the rod, because these are junk rods, or pistons. We've had trouble with the Cleveite pistons before. Let me pull this apart, put a different set of bearings in it. If it's still the same clearance, then there's something wrong with that rod. If it's good, then, well, these bearings are junk. Let me pull this apart, see what we got. Oh man, it is always something around here. It wouldn't be this in that garage without MLS visiting every single day of my life. Yes, sir. All right, set these to the side. I'm hoping it's a bearing and not the rod, because, well, the rod and the piston are married. I'm sort of thinking it's the rod because no matter what I do, I cannot get them to join just by hitting them. So it may be the rod. We'll see here in just a moment. Got to torque them down. What we got? We got the same thing. We got something wrong with the rod. It's actually 6.5. So that's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Don't know what in the world it could be, but yeah. 2 in a row. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do just to make dang sure that it's the rod, not the bearing. We'll put this same bearing in a different rod and see what we get. Great googly and moogly is about all I can say at this point. All right, let's torque this one down. See what we got with it. We got, that's about 3-ish. So yeah, something wrong with that rod. Let me do some inspecting on it. And hopefully I can figure out what's wrong with it and fix it, because I really don't want to pull that back off the piston because we may bust the piston. Then that ain't good. Well, here's the deal, fellas. I don't know what the deal is. I ain't got a clue. I have fooled with this thing for 10 or 15 minutes. Can't figure out what's wrong with it. Sometimes you'll get little burrs around the edge here. Well, I've took a file and filed that down, make sure there were no burrs. Same thing on the cap. I don't see anything wrong. It's still coming up with about 6 thousandths clearance. That's way too much. So I dug in the bag and found this one here, and it's at 3.5 thousandths clearance. I think some of this is these bearings. I may be done with Clevite. I don't know. Last 2 or 3 sets I've got ain't been all that great. We may try some King bearings or Engine Tech. I've used them in something. That's what Rockato sells. We may try using them. I don't know. Anyway, this one here, even at 3.5 thousandths, that's better than 6. So I'm gonna go take me a break. I think it's sandwich time. When I get back, we're gonna attempt to get this rod off this piston. Cross your fingers and your toes and say your prayers that we don't bust this piston, because if we do, well, we're down for the count. Got the piston set up in the press right here. I really hope we don't bust it, mainly because I don't want to have to wait to get another one. If you can even buy a single piston, I don't know that you can. But it'd be 3 or 4 days before we get it, so yeah. I hope we do not bust it. I'm gonna go very, very easy and slow here at first. See what happens. What is happening? I don't see anything happening, to be honest with you. Oh, something happened then. I don't know if that was a piston, or they'll pop usually on that first move in the rod. Let's see. No, sir, it's not moving. Oh, let me undo it. See if we've cracked that piston. Well, I don't see any cracks. Tell you what I might do. Let's try something different. Here's what I'm going to attempt to do first, because I really don't want to bust that piston. Let's take our torch, heat the small end of the rod up. That'll expand, hopefully, and take this bolt that we're using on the press, whoop on it with a hammer, and hopefully drive that pin out. We might have to heat it up 2 or 3 times, drive it a little bit and heat it up again. We'll just see. The thing about this is you might heat up the pin too, expand with the rod, and you're sort of beating your heads against the wall then. Anyway, let's see what happens. It might work. All right, well, let's just see. Let us see what happens here. I don't think it's moving. No, sir, I don't think it's moving at all. Yeah, it did then. I don't care about the rod. It's junk anyways because there's something wrong with it. I'm just trying to not tear up this brand new piston. Whee! Let me heat it up a little bit, see what that does. Whoop on it some more. Ooh, ooh, ooh. We are messing up bad, real bad. Enough. The threads on this are eating into that. Oh man, that's terrible. It sure is. Oh me. Let me see if I can find one without threads. I'll probably done hurt that piston. Yep. Hey, what about this right here? I don't remember what this apparatus here is for. Huh. We're going to use it if it'll fit in the hole. Oh, look at there. Yep. Whoop a devil out of it. Well, the pin went flying. I got to find it. I found it! I found it! Well, the piston is still quite warm. So I'm going to hold it with a rag and try to clean up where I messed it up. Y'all probably can't see. The camera probably won't pick it up, but right in there, she's a little rough. Yep. I'm going to file on it with a chainsaw file, because that's the first file I found in the drawer, until I get it cleaned up good enough where the pin will slide in, and then we're going to call her good. Yes. This is the pinnacle of backyard butchery. Absolutely. Backyard butchery on a budget, I should say. See, it'll almost slide in. It goes about halfway. Let me keep working on this. I'll get it in a minute. Y'all watch this right here. Oh, yeah, look in there. Slides right in. Yep. There may be just a tiny amount of tight, but I'd rather be tight than loose. Now, let me tell you this. Do not do this. No, sir. Do as I say, not as I do. Do not do this at all. I'm willing to suffer the consequences of, something maybe happening here. Do this. Also, I don't know if y'all can tell or not, but I beat the devil out of that rod. It's bent. Yeah. It don't matter. It's trash anyway. Let me clean this up and get it put on the other rod. Well, there 'tis, and it is smooth as butter. Oh yeah, won't nobody ever know that y'all messed that up. This is going to be a loose motor. Yeah, looser than what I'd like to build usually. That's 3.5 thousandths clearance. 2.5, 2.5, 4. That's really bad. Oh, wait a minute. That's not 3.5. Remember? No, I didn't tell y'all. I got another rod because I didn't like that 3.5. So it's a 3 now instead of 3.5. Over here is 2.5, 2.5, 3, and 3. It's going to be loose, yeah. Thanks. The mains, weren't they a little bit loose too? I've never built a loose motor. It's first time for everything. If it runs great, if it flies apart, well, we'll build another motor. That's all I can tell you. Gonna be a short day today. I stayed up way too late last night. I got to bed, yeah. Oh, the sun was coming up. I was finalizing some merch, new merch design for y'all. I got it uploaded. I'll put a picture of it here. Oh yeah, we got some old Forte merch now. One of my subscribers by the name of Dennis come up with this design. He also did the MLS and the Club Dumas designs. Yeah, it looks pretty sharp. Appreciate that, Dennis. I'm going to email you. I wish you'd take some free merch or payment or something. I don't expect that for free. Absolutely not. I'll email you. We'll talk about it. Just to remind you, in case you don't know, well, my link to my merch is in the description below here, so go check it out. Also, you can mix and match all of my designs. You can put one on the front, on the back, on the sleeve, maybe both sleeves. I don't know. You can mix and match, do whatever you want to. So go check it out. 'Tis the next day, and let me go ahead and apologize for the audio last night. That was pretty bad there for a few minutes. I bought an adapter for the camera. It has one USB port for charging and for hooking up my mic. Well, I bought an adapter where I can plug my mic in and charge it because the batteries on this camera don't last long, about like the mic batteries, they don't last very long. Well, that little adapter, for whatever reason, is acting up. I got it plugged in right now and it's doing good. If it does it again, well, I'm gonna send it back. Yeah, that's aggravating. Anyway, the goal for today, I would like to get this motor basically put together. I think we can do it, but I still got a little more prep work to do. In case y'all haven't noticed, there's a lot of prep work that goes into building a motor before you ever start actually building it. We got to put rings on the pistons, and then I got to clean the oil pan and the spider hold down, and there's several things got to clean. The what are those called? Valve covers, got to clean them up. And then we start putting this thing together. Well, I got to probably clean the heads up too. They're a little dirty. Anyway, give me, I don't know, a couple hours, then we'll start putting this thing together. Doing a little experimentating. Y'all know I like to do that. I got 4 different cleaners. This one here and this one here, Spray 9, was sent to me by one of y'all a couple years ago. I don't know that I've used them. I don't think I have. Then we got some oven cleaner too. Oven cleaner on the valve covers. This one here was really nasty. I had to scrape it with a screwdriver. I just sprayed this on the oil pan and it's already evaporatized. I mean, what good is that? Anyway, that's probably gonna be in last place. And then our little spider hold down thing, oven cleaner, and then our windage tray was Spray 9. I'm fixing to hit them. I'm not going to brush them. Let's hit them with the whole pipe and just see which one does the best. Oil pan is HD cleaner. That's what evaporatized in like 2 minutes. Yeah. I don't see it doing a whole lot, but I could be wrong. Check it out in a minute. This windage tray was, what did I say? It's the Spray 9, that's what it is. It's coming clean. Yep. And then here's the oven cleaner. Oh, look at there. Cool. Here's some more oven cleaner. I cheer. Well, it looks like the oven cleaner's pretty doggone good. Yep. Well, let me keep cleaning on them. I don't expect it, to get it spotless without scrubbing and brushing. But yeah, oven cleaner seems to do pretty good. Anyways, let me continue to clean. Well, I got everything clean except for this one here. It's still a little bit gunked up and I've run out of oven cleaner. So I'm using this Spray 9. It seems to be pretty decent. But the verdict is the oven cleaner is pretty doggone good cleaner. It sure is. Here's what I'm going to do. I got to run to Ireland, get some parts real quickly. Then I just remembered that I've got several barrels over at Mama's in the woods. Daddy's neighbor several years ago, he built a gasifier out of it. It's just a big contraption. Sitting over in the woods, the tops come off those barrels. If I can find 2 that are good, not cut up, I'm gonna get them. We need one for the Packard motor. It's still sitting here in the floor. I can never remember to find a barrel. We'll get one of them for that, fill it up with diesel, put that motor over in there, let it soak. Get another one for, we're gonna fill it up. Well, I got 25 gallons of Purple Power sitting right there, that we put in that tub and soak blocks in and whatnot. Get another barrel, put that Purple Power in it. When I get a part like what I just cleaned, well, pitch it over in the barrel, let it soak for a week or 2, pull it out, spray it off, and it should be pretty clean. I hate cleaning. That's why I'm doing this. Word to the wise, though, on the Purple Power, do not let anything aluminum soak in it. It does weird stuff to it. Yep, don't do that. Anyways, let me get all this stuff done, and maybe this evening we can get over and start putting that motor together. Well, I spent several hours running around town, getting parts and doing this and that and everything else. I got 2 barrels, by the way. They're outside. We got to work on them. They're junk. It's like everything else, fellas. We got to work on it before we can use them, but at least we got 2 barrels. It's hard to find open top barrels. Anyway, I think I got all the parts I need. Probably not. I think I've got all the prep work done. Probably not. But we are fixing to start putting this thing together. It's late. It's, I don't know, 9 o'clock. This is how my days and nights get screwed up. I got to run around town doing everything half the day, and then I don't get started till 8, and then I'll work till midnight, 2 o'clock, and, well, my nights and days, they're all screwed up. Anyway, what we're going to start with, we're going to clean all these threads up on these head bolts, then we're going to flip her over and start putting the crank in. The reason you want to clean these out is to get a better torque reading. If you leave these sitting around, they'll get all rusted up, so I like to run a tap in them, clean them up. We got a hole stopped up right there with rust. Yep, sure do. I'll have to clean that out. Let me do the other side and then we'll put the crank in. Where is the crank-a-linka? Come here, crank-a-linka. Well, I reckon it is time to put the crank-a-linka in and let the assemblies begin. There we go. You gotta get a hammer. When you're putting caps on, do that right there. Make sure they're seated. If they're not seated, you run a chance of breaking them. Yes, if they're not sitting down in the register. Yep. Sure enough can. You got some long bolts for the what do you call it? Windage tray. I don't remember where they go. I gotta look that up. Let me get these caps on first. They got an arrow on them. Arrow always goes to the front. I got a TBI block over here that will have that same windage tray. So let's see how it goes. You got 1 on the passenger side and 2 on the driver's side. All right. What the devil? Wrong socket. Oh, what in the world? That's more better. First round, I'm gonna go to 45. We'll go to 60. Sure, man, why not? All right, there's 75 feetage pounds. Let me check them one more time. All right, do it spin? Oh yeah, it spins. All right, I reckon it's time to put the pistons in. Y'all remember, I think it was the Ford. Had lots of trouble out of that ring compressor. We're gonna try my trick again. Put it in here, but not all the way. Then I go get the ring compressor and put it on here. Hopefully it'll squeeze them down pretty good. Now, let's see if this will work. I think I need to open it up just a wee bit. Will it go on? Yep. Let me check my rings one more time. Now, it don't act right. It's really, really tight when you're tightening it up. I think it's just a pile of garbage. Yep. Well, that won't even tighten it up because that's the wrong size. It ain't starting out good, fellas. Let me go find something that'll fit it. Well, apparently this is just a big pile of garbage. I think I got this one off of Amazon. And 1/4-inch drive don't fit it. It's square. It's not whatever hex, whatever for Allen wrench. So feel on that. Went and got this in here. Let me clean it up and earl it up. My 1/4-inch drive fits it. Yeah, I'm gonna throw that up in the carbogery. I think it's brand new too. I ain't gonna do that. I'll probably make a drive to fit it. Now let's see if this little feller here will fit. Oh yeah, look at there. You gotta tighten them up pretty tight or the ring will try to hang out just a little bit. Well, I just broke that one. I give up, fellas. What in the world? I don't know what to do now because, yep, I don't have another one. All right, that's great. Grand even. Well, we're back to the original ring compressor we started out with. Let me get it on here and I'll show you what I got. It's a square hole. It's not 1/4 inch. It's not 3/8. It's whatever this tap is. Is that square? Fits in there. Well, I just jammed me 2 nuts on the end of that tap so I can use my ratchet here to turn it. And that's just what I come up with. I ain't never in my life. This thing is made in the USA too. So, yep. You can't buy nothing worth of crap anymore. Sure can't. Let me see if that's going to work. Nope. Oh, wait a minute. I think we hit the, yeah, we hit the crank. All right, let me turn her just a wee bit so I can see what I'm doing. I think we'll turn her on down so I can get to that. All right, let me get this here Capalapa on. Remember, tangs go to the pan rail. Put that little feller on right there. All right, let's keep on trucking. Well, there's one. Let's do us another real quick, like. Oh yeah, look at there. Roll her on over so I can see what I'm doing. Approximately there. Pull our hoses off. Tang to the pan rail. All right, I got 6 more to go. I'll be back when I get done. All the pistons are installed. I'm now torque-lorking the rod bolts to 45 feetage pounds. When I get done with that, I'm gonna take a little break. Then I believe we'll put the Earl pan on, Earl pump, excuse me. Put the windage tray on, and I might put that Earl filter adapter on. Then, I don't know, I guess we'll put the cam in. I don't know, we'll do something, because we got plenty to do. Oh yeah. All right, working on the oil pump. I gotta put a new pickup tube in it. It can be a pain in the hind end. That's what it's being right now. It's press fit. And we gotta whoop it on with a hammer some kind of way. Come on, man. It's just awkward. You can't hold on to it, and yeah, it's just a pain is what it is. Absolutely. All right, I think it might be started a wee bit. So let's be very careful or it will fall out. Oh yeah, she's a-going. A little bit more. I can live with that. Now, let's go over here and get a measurement and get that set. And we'll run us a little tack on that. Keep it from falling off. To set your pickup at the right height, you have to measure with the gasket from here to the bottom of the pan. I got 8 1/4. You want about 3/8 inch clearance from the bottom of it to here. So that leaves us with 7 7/8. So I got to measure from here up to here, 7 7/8, and bring that up there. Take it off and tack it. So let me rig up something here we can get a measurement off of. Here's what I have devised. I don't know if it's going to work or not. We'll take my little square here. This slides up and down, and it's got measurements on it. I'm going to put it here on the pan rail and then here on the top of that cap. Keep this flat. Bring it down there. Get me a measurement from there. And that is, well, it's dead on 2 inches. Okay. So from here, this cap to here, I need to be 5 7/8. So let me get my tape. I need to go up an inch or so. About right there. I need to go up a wee more. That's 5 1/2. That's 5 7/8 right there. And that will leave me with 3/8 of an inch from here to the bottom of the pan. To double check, you can do it just like this right here. measure up, we're at 5/8. It's probably close enough. I think we'll be okay. You might be asking yourself, well, why ain't he TIG welding that? It's simple. Have you seen my TIG welds? They're not very good. No, sir. I don't trust them. Not for something like this. Let's go put it on. Let me get the oil pump torque alert down. Now I want to put the oil pan on here with some putty here, just to triple check, I guess. Make sure we're good. Look at this here fancy, what's this called? Oil pan gasket. A one piece. I got some plumber's putty here, but it's kind of done got hard on me. Maybe it'll work. I'm gonna put it right here and put that oil pan on here, squish it down, and then we'll take this off and measure it and see what we got. Measure down real good. All right, let's see what we got. That is 390. I think we'll leave it there. Yep, 375 is 3/8. I'm gonna get this windage tray on here real quick, like. Fellas, I don't think that's right. We got a hole here. This is flopping. This goes here. Yep, so I gotta pull the oil pan back off. Put that, no, that can't be right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, let me take it back on. Well, apparently I got this fella here in the wrong spot. It goes here, so let me get that took care of. All right, let's see if that works. That seems to be a mucho abatero. Clicker. 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 Well, here's the deal, fellas. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. My knees are killing me and I want to go in the house. But I want to get this painted first. I think what we'll do is just put the pan on temporarily. I'll have to tape the front end up and tape the deck surface up so I don't get paint on them. We'll spray paint it real good, let it dry. Then tomorrow we'll pull the pan back off and do all the front stuff, put the cover on and put the pan back on. Oh yeah, sounds like a good idea. I'm not gonna video any of that. It's just cleaning and painting, pretty boring. But before I start that, I wanna go over something very, very quickly. Last week, I gave a special shout out, special thanks to the Patreon members. Well, some other people got their feelings hurt, got mad, whatever you want to call it. I don't know why, but they did. So, well, it perturbed me. I'll just be honest with you. Yep, pretty bad. So I said, I'm not dealing with that. I'll just shut the Patreon down, and I did. I deleted both tiers where no new people could join until I figured out how to actually shut it down. I don't know Patreon. Anyway, I posted on Patreon, on here, and on Facebook saying I shut it down, you know, told the reason why. Got lots of comments. I read every one of them. And, of course, as usual, 99.99999% of them were encouraged. Had one comment that was whatever. Y'all said that don't let that minuscule amount of people control what happens on this channel. Don't, you know, just don't listen to them. And y'all are exactly right. So I've decided to start the Patreon back up. Link will be in the description. Here's the thing. Like I told you, I had 2 tiers. I deleted both of them, and then I've added them back since. Well, I think if you had already been a member, subscribed, and then I deleted it, well, you may have to go subscribe again. So check that out, you know, if you want to. And please go subscribe. If you don't want to, Fellas, that's fine. I don't I don't think no less of you. You know, and let me tell you this too. If you can't afford it, please don't do it. No. If you're on a fixed income, please don't do it. Take care of you and yours first. Don't worry about me. I'll be just fine. Yeah. But I've decided that I'm gonna go back to my old rule. If I come across a comment that's they're being a smarty or know-it-all, you know, that type of person, I'm not gonna respond. I'm gonna hit that block button and that's it, and keep on trucking. Anyways, I apologize to the ones that already subscribed. You got to resubscribe, but you know, that's just how it goes sometimes. Also, and oh, by the way, one more thing. I do want to thank you once again. If you have subscribed to my Patreon, y'all are awesome. Appreciate it. One more thing, real quick. I don't have the participation trophy mentality. If you don't know what that is, that means some people think you should get equal treatment no matter what your input is. No, sir. I don't go by that. If you do something special, whether it's join Patreon, you send me something in the mail we can use, I'm going to give you a special shout out, a special thanks. That's how it is. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. You want to join Patreon, you're awesome. If you don't, you're still awesome. I mean, you know, I don't not like you. If you do join, I'm going to give you a special shout out. Anyways, I'll see y'all later. Well, it looked like an orange bomb went off in here last night. Sure does. But let me tell you this. There ain't no prettier color than shimmy lay orange on a motor block. Oh, yeah, I said it. 'Tis the next day again, and, well, you might be looking at this ugly front cover. I completely forgot to clean it. Forgot about cleaning the water pump and a few other small things we got to clean up. I'm not sure. If I knew that would clean up good, I would leave it natural color, but it probably ain't, so I'm either going to paint it orange or black. I ain't decided yet. The water pump we can't use. Let me get it up here and I'll show you why. It's got a hole right here that's supposed to have a pipe that comes out and turns. I don't remember what that's for exactly. But yeah, it's got to have that. I guess I could tap it out and put a pipe plug in it. We'll keep it. I ain't going to throw it away. But I do have a brand spankingly new water pump there. That's probably what we're going to use. Also, I forgot to clean up some of this little stuff, like the rear main seal holder. The hub needs a little bit of cleaning. I'm probably painting it black. Also, I have ruined, yes sir, I have ruined the intake manifold. Somebody had painted it with silver paint, and I hate that. So I hit it with oven cleaner. Well, I forgot about it, and I left that oven cleaner on there several hours, and you can see it's a white chalky mess now. I'm gonna try to do something with it. I don't know what. Might sand on it a little bit, but I think some of that paint is still on there. We're gonna use it. It's just gonna be ugly. Yep. Anyways, let me clean up some of this stuff I forgot about, and then I reckon we'll get back to putting this together. Start with the cam and all that. I'll be back in a little while. I think I got everything cleaned up. The intake, well, it looks like garbochery, but we're on a budget, fellas. I told you we're using what we got, and, well, that ain't going to make it run no slower. Absolutely not. I think now let's start putting together. We'll start with the cam. Here it is right here. This is what you call a step nose cam. See that step in it there? The reason it has that is because roller cams, you have to run a retainer plate just like that. Just like that right there. It bolts right there. Yep. Keeps the cam from walking. A regular old hydraulic flat tappet. The lobes are ground on a very, very slight angle. This way, I think. And as the lifters are pushing on the lobe, well, it's trying to push it to the back of the motor. Well, you got a cam plug back here that keeps it from pushing out. Well, on a roller cam, it has to be ground perfectly flat. So it can walk either way. So you had to put a cam retainer plate, or if it's retrofit, you put what they call a cam button in here to keep it from walking. Anyways, let me tell you the specs on this cam. It is a very, very, very small cam. It's basically a stock cam. It's a comp cam. I already had it. Bought it like 2 years ago for, I think I was going to swap it out in the old four-wheeler drive. But anyway, it is 458 lift and 206, 210 duration at 50. Pretty small, yep. I really, really had to fight the urge to buy a bigger cam. I had already had one picked out. I'm like, no, you're doing this on a budget. You can't afford a cam. Use what you got. So that's what we're doing. Let me get her lubed up, and we'll get her slid in the block, and then we'll go to putting lifters in and spiders and all that kind of stuff. Got the old assembly lube all over it here. Don't want to put it in there without that. No, sir. Let me get some more lube. Come on now, come back here. All right. And then me a long bolt. Use that as a handle. Then you can do this right here and put her in the rest of the way. Oh yeah, look at there, she spins too. Let's put our retainer plate on next. I had to steal this from the Trans Am because, you know, when I went and got the water pump and that gear and the timing chain set and all that the other day off that other car, I could have swore I grabbed that, but I cannot find it. So had to steal it off of the white Trans Am, and I'll buy another one. Well, I already ordered it. It'll be here a couple days. Anyway. I did put orange Loctite on these here voltages, and then I'm gonna torque them to all 20. Clicker. Clicker. I'm gonna go ahead and put this water pump drive system in after I give this bare ink a little bit of juice. Might have to get a hammer peck on it. I think that's bottomed out. Yeah, feels like it. These are Torx bit, and I am putting orange Loctite on them too. We'll tighten them to, we'll say 12.5 Torque-a-Lorks. Clicker. I don't have a cam plug in the back of the block. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and do that now. Yep. Let us get this chemus plug us in us. Okay, us? Okay, us. Come on, man. I never really know how far in to drive that. All right, we'll leave it at that. Also, whilst we're here, let's go ahead and put this rear main seal on. I gotta have it on before I'm gonna put the Earl pump on, or Earl pan on. So let us go ahead and do that too. Put a little bit of Earl on this here before I forget. Last one I did of these, it had a little plastic retainer thing in there that was supposed to help you get this slid up on there. This one don't have that. I don't know why. Look at there! Oh yeah! Let me get my nuts and bolts and we'll tighten that up. We'll do these like 6 7/8. Clicker, 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 and clicker. All right. Let me put it back on the stand. We will proceed to continue. I like to clean the lifter bores out just before I put the lifters in there. Just make sure there ain't no little bits of trash that it might have fell in there. These are Brian Tooley Racing lifters. That's about the only roller lifter I will buy nowadays. Yep. I don't know if I told y'all, but this is a comp cam, and they have lost their mind. Yeah, like I said, I bought this 2 years ago. I had plans to put it in the 4-wheel drive, but I put that other instead. This cam cost $400 2 years ago. Now a comp cam's roller cam is $522. It went up $122 in 2 years. That's ridiculous. Got to put the dog bones in. In case you don't know, the purpose of these is to keep these lifters from turning. You know, it's a roller cam. They have little rollers on the bottom lifters. If they get turned, well, you'll wipe a cam out very, very quickly. So that's what these do. They don't have a certain way to go either. There's no up or down on these. It seemed like the Ford we just built, I think they had an up and down. This is what they call the spider, and that's what holds them dog bones in place. I put some orange Loctite on the bolts, then we'll torque them down. Torque-a-lorks, torque-a-lorks, torque-a-lorks. Clicker, clicker, clicker. Oh yeah. I got ahead of myself. I forgot about the timing chain set and all that. So let's go ahead and get that put on dot to dot. So I need to turn my cam about 180, approximately right there. There it is. That chain is pretty loose too. Sure enough. It'll be all right. Orange Loctite on these bolts too. Clicker, clicker, clicker. All right. Well, there's something odd. I was fixing to change all the seals in this timing cover, and well, I can't find the water pump drive seal. No, sir. Looked in this little gasket set, it ain't to be found. Well, I look on the label, does not contain water pump drive seal. Use GM part number. Well, I looked the part number up. No, sir. Cannot be found. AutoZone, Advance, Napa, and who else? Somebody else. I forgot. O'Reilly's, yeah. No, sir. They don't even list it. Some it says it's discontinued. Jegs, same thing. I finally found it on Amazon in a Felpro gasket, timing cover gasket set. That's the only way you can get it. I ordered 2 because, I mean, it's just a seal. I don't know what's the big deal about it. Anyway, won't be here till tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sunday. Sunday's a day of rest. That's what I plan on doing. I hope y'all do the same. I'm going to piddle out here for a little while. I'll see y'all Monday. We got some MLS stuff happening right off the bat today. Well, actually, it started last night. You know, this seal for the water pump drive right there. You know, I had to order a whole timing chain cover gasket set to get that seal. Nobody carries just a seal. Got it off Amazon. Supposed to have been here yesterday. No, sir, that was a lie. Didn't come yesterday, so I looked and it said, deliver it tomorrow by 10 p.m. So I was like, well, I can't wait till 10 p.m. tomorrow to start working on this again. So I looked on O'Reilly's website and they had that same gasket set, so I ordered it. Just got back from getting it a little while ago. Put it in and then went to put this cover on. Can y'all see that seal? Yep, that's the actual seal right there hanging out. Sure is, yep. I completely forgot about that. That is an issue. Trying to slip that on there because Jim and their wonderful engineers, they didn't think to taper the end of this shaft where it wouldn't grab that seal and, you know, make it fold outwards. So luckily, I ordered 2 of those gasket sets off Amazon. It says they'll be here in a few hours, so maybe we can get back on that. And here's another thing I completely forgot about. You know, we're not using the OptiSpark anymore. It's got that little short shaft that sticks in there, comes through this hole, through this seal. And well, we can't have that hole because we're not using OptiSpark. So I decided let's flatten out we call this a freeze plug. I was going to JB weld it to the inside, but I think it's going to hit the cam bolts. So what I'm going to have to do is sand this paint away, and then we'll just glue it to the outside like that, and then I'll paint over it. So the front of the motor, we're dead in the water on it. So let me show you the next saga in the LT1 build for the old Jolly Green Giant. Here are the heads that were put on this motor. They are LT1 specific. Well, you can modify them. There's some holes I think you have to weld up, other holes you have to drill out. Then you can put them on a regular old small block Chevrolet, but there's really no need because they don't flow as good as Vortec heads. You'd be better off just to put Vortec heads on whatever you're building. make a whole lot more power. Anyway, unless you just wanted aluminum heads. Anyway, here is what the issue is. Remember me telling y'all last week we had to re-drill the heads? Well, this is what I'm talking about. The LT1 bolt pattern is, for the intake, is specific to the LT1 only. The only thing it shares with a small block Chevrolet is the outside bolt holes. Well, let me just show you. This is a small block Chevrolet intake gasket. Lay it up here, get them lined up, and you can see the outside holes, they line up, but none of the others do. See, there's no hole. No, sir. See, this one here is partially showing. So, to fix that issue, I got me some aluminum rod from Lowe's the other night. Put threads on it, screwed it down in the holes, cut it off, sanded it down smooth. Because if you just leave that open hole and you drill next to it, part of your new hole is into the old hole. Well, you don't have that full 360 degrees thread, and you're liable to strip the threads out. So that's what we're doing with those little dowels. But I'm a doomus because I didn't have to do the two inside holes because they're nowhere near the old holes. Yeah. Anyway, it don't matter. So what we got to do is either hold this gasket up here, mark the hole and drill and tap, or I think firstly I'm going to try to bolt that intake to here and then mark our holes and drill them. Let's see if we can do that. The reason I'm doing this is, one, we'll never run the stock LT1 intake again on this motor. If I did, I would have to do fuel injection, and I don't want to do that. If I do it this way, then I can put any small block Chevrolet on these heads from now on. If I modify them, I think GM is the only one that makes a carbureted manifold for the LT1, and they're ridiculous expensive if you can even find one. So I think this is the best way to do it. Go ahead and fix the holes. This don't want to screw down in there. Anyway, fix the holes now, and you won't never have to worry about it again. Also, I forgot to tell you all this. The LT1 bolt angle is different than the small block Chevrolet. Small block Chevrolet is 90 degrees from the making surface of the head, and these are, I read somewhere it's, I don't know, 17 degrees, 22 degrees, something like that. I don't recall. Now, I got them in there. Let's flip her around where I can see what I'm doing. I can mark these two, but these are going to be hard to get my, we call it, our little transfer punch in there. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? You know what? I think I probably should put that gasket on there, because that's going to raise this up a little bit, and it'll change the hole a little bit, I think. So, yeah. Let me do that. A gasket don't line up exactly right. We got an issue. Things are not lining up. I think it's due to these holes here being at the wrong angle. They need to be up here. Was throwing the intake off, and I'm trying to line the gasket up with the intake, and everything's going to be off. So I think we're going to have to take the intake off. Well, I don't know if y'all can see or not. Down in that hole, probably not. But the gasket is too far that away according to this hole. But the gasket in the spot it's in, the port holes line up. So, yeah, we can't do it with the intake on it. Let me pull it off. To further clarify what I'm talking about, see your gasket versus your intake port. It needs to be here, so you're not covering up any of your port. You don't want to cover your port up. You'll be making less power, less airflow. So what we'll do is we'll line these gaskets up with the ports, and I'll put these outside bolts in and make sure everything's in place. Then we'll mark these holes and drill them. To even further show you what I'm talking about, I've got this one here where it needs to go now. I got the bolts tightened down, and the gasket pretty much lines up. That gasket needs to be a little bit taller, but I might trim a little bit off. But anyway, here's the intake now with a gasket. And if you line the ports up, right there, and see how your holes line up too? They're not all centered. So yeah, that's why I'm doing that. If you line these holes up with the gasket, you line these holes up with the gasket, then everything should line up. That's the theory anyway. Let me get them holes marked and drilled and tapped. All right, here we go. Do or die. We're either gonna make it work or mess it up. One of the two. There's that one. I'm gonna go ahead and mark this one here too while we're here. If it don't line up exactly, we can always waller the holes out on that intake too. But let me get these drilled after I pull this gasket off. Let me ask y'all a question real quick. Do you like it when I explain like I just did all the details, or would you rather me shut up and do it and then move on to the next thing? One of the reasons why I do is, I want y'all to know how to do this in the future if you want to. Also, I feel like some of y'all don't realize how long it takes to do these modifications that I do, and just building a motor. Y'all see 5 minutes of this, but it's going to take me, I don't know, 1 to 2 hours to get this done. Anyway, if you like it, if you don't like it, let me know in the comments. 90 degrees from this surface. I'm going to eyeball it because it's not that critical about the angle, but I want it close. This drill bit is extremely dull. It won't even cut aluminum. Goodness gracious. Let's try that. .3/8/16 is the thread size. Well, there's one. I got 5 more to go. I'll be back in a little bit. I got the 4 inside holes done. We're working on the outside ones now. I just thought I'd show y'all this aluminum all thread that I made. I just run a die over it, cut threads on it, and then screw it in the hole, cut her off, and then put my gasket up here and make a hole. All right, would you look at it? Would you just look at it? We got both heads done now. This is our new bolt angle. Our old bolt angle was approximately like that. So yeah, we done straightened her on up. One mistake. When I was drilling this one, I went into the water jacket. That's what this hole right here is for. So when we put this bolt in, we'll put some thread sealer on it. Should be a-okay. I'll probably do that to all 4 of those bolts on the outside, just to make sure. Let me clean this head up. I'm gonna clean this area up because there's aluminum shavings everywhere. Then I reckon we'll get over here and put the heads on, get the intake on. Then by then, hopefully my seal will be here for our cover here. We'll get the front of the motor done. If I have time, I'd like to get the old carburetor tore apart and cleaned up, put back together, check the jets and see what size we got. We'll just put stock jets back in. Holley carbs, they come with stock jets that's a 750. I'll look up and see what they're supposed to be, primaries and secondaries. And if they're not the stock ones, we'll put the stock ones in, and it should be all right. They're usually, unless you got a really radical motor, they're usually pretty close right out of the box. Anyways, let's get cleaned up and get heads on this motor. I have pulled a little bit of a Dumas move. I thought I ordered head bolts. Apparently I did not. And I've got the old head bolts that come with that LT1 motor, but those are torque to yield, and you're only supposed to use them once. I've used them before, reuse them, but you're not supposed to. And I don't want to on this one. So I got over here on the Racco parts. Look what I found. A whole set of small block shimmy lay head bolts. These, I believe, that's what we used on the 283 for the old Forte. We swapped those heads. I think that's what they're from. Anyway, I'm cleaning them up now with a wire brush. I think they'll be just fine and dandly. These are not the torque to yield. So they should be just fine and dandly. Fellers, that's why you don't throw stuff away. No, sir. Well, we're having some technical difficulties. I don't know which way the head gasket goes. There's no markings telling you this side up, or there's no part number, but it does have this blue stuff on one side. It does not have it on the other. I don't know which way it goes. I mean, I think the blue goes up, but I don't know. I have been a member of LT1 Nation on Facebook for many, many years. I'm waiting on them to tell me, maybe they've run into this problem and see what they say. Maybe they can tell me which way it goes. I don't know. So whilst I wait on them to answer me, I got my, where are they at? I got my other gasket sets. A cheer for that, what is it called? Water pump drive seal. Well, let me show you what you got to do. We got to put the cover on first. Then what you do is you take a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch drive socket, and you slide it in the seal, and then that fits over here. And see how that's pretty much the same size? Well, you take a bigger socket and hit it on into the hole on the cover. So let's get the cover on firstly, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, that we don't tear up another seal. Where'd my hummer go? Hummer, hummer, hummer. I just had the hummer in my hand, and I've lost it. Well, that's good. Hummer, where are you? I found it, I found it. Cross your fingers and your toes and your eyes and everything else. We don't break the seal. This seal is not made out of rubber. That's the problem. Why won't they make it out of rubber? Well, you'll have to ask GM and, well, the manufacturer of this seal. I don't know. But I'm hoping we can just hold that and push that seal. Well, it won't go. So what are we doing wrong here? Interesting. Let me take that out. No, sir, that did not work. So I am doing something wrong. Yep. And we've just about tore that seal. Yep, I just tore it up. So that's good. Yep. I got one more try. One more try, and that's it. What you want to do first is get, what size is this? I think it's is it a 7/16 or maybe a 3/8. But get a socket that'll slide in there pretty easily. And wobble it around there. And you'll sort of stretch that seal. Then you put your, whatever this one is, I don't forgot what size it is. Well, you get it put in there. Then let's see what we can get done. I'm gonna work that one a little bit too, stretch her out. Fingers crossed, fellas, because this is it. I ain't got another seal. Oh, I think we did it right then. Nope. I think it broke it. No, it didn't. I don't know what that is, but that ain't part of the seal. All right, let me get my bigger socket that I had. We'll drive it on in the hole. And I'm still going to see if we can find us a rubber seal. All right, let's get the water pump on now. I don't know which way that goes. Why does stuff have to go a certain way? Why can't it just be either or? It's got a little groove there. I don't see what it would matter. So we're going to put it on just about like that right there, I think. Maybe we'll go the other way, though. I don't know. Let me get the bolts now. The bolts, we got to have the bolts. I don't know if the water pump bolt holes go through to the water jacket, so we're going to pretend they do and put sealant on the threads. Those are going in really hard. Really hard. That is not good. No, sir. Probably should have cleaned them threads out. Let me take it back off. Yep, they're stuck. Great, grand even. It ain't one thing, it's something else. All a dad blame time. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This one here. Oh yeah, I may end up breaking that bolt. This is great. Oh yeah, I'm afraid I'm going to. What about this one here? No, it'll come loose. This one here. It'll come loose. What about this one here? Ooh. Yeah, it's coming loose. This one over here, though, I'm afraid it's fixing to break off on me, probably. Let's see what I can do with it. Yeah, that's not good, fellers. Well, we got extremely lucky. Yes, sir. That bolt come out. So I'm gonna run this here tap under these holes. Clean these threads out. Maybe that won't happen again. Well, I got them cleaned out best I could, so let's try this again. All right, let's run these in slowly. That one did good. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Great. Grand, even. I just want to show y'all this real quick like. The LT1 thermostat is specific to this motor, to this water pump. See how funny it's shaped? It's got this little feller on the end. Well, down in there is another hole that when the motor is cold, that passage is open. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, it's a bypass. Remember how small block Chevrolets have a bypass? I think that's what that is. Well, as this thermostat opens, this little piece here will go down and close that hole off. If you put a regular old small block Chevrolet thermostat in here without that, it's gonna run hot. Well, here's the deal. I'm starting to get aggravated to this stupid little motor. Trying to get the crank hub on. It likes maybe 3/8 of an inch, and it has just stopped. It will not budge anymore. Yeah. My belly's growling. That's why I'm aggravated. So I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to go inside and get me something to eat. I reckon tomorrow we'll try to finish this thing up. I've spent entirely too long trying to get this motor put together this week. So let us get busy and get it together. Last night when I shut the camera off, I didn't quit working. Y'all know that. Put the oil pump on, put the oil filter adapter on, oil filter starter, put this plug in so we didn't have water come flying out when I filled it up. I think that's about all I did. Today, let's flip her on her head and finish it up. I had exactly 2 people answer my post on LT1 Nation last night, so either I'm just a dummy and they didn't want to answer, or not very many people have run into this issue. Both of them that responded said the blue goes up, so that's what we're going to do. Let's start getting the heads on it. Let us begin with the head gasket. Firstly, small block shimmy lays get thread sealer on the head bolts because they go through to the water jacket. Don't forget that. Also, aluminum heads, you need a whoosher on them to keep from galling the aluminum when you tighten the bolts up. Plus, you'll get a more accurate reading on your torque specs. You want to be sure and have the proper torque alerts on your heads. I made a cheat sheet for the torquing sequence because that's way too much for my little pea brain to remember. I go 45, then 55, and then 70 on the torque alerts. Make 3 passes. You don't want to clamp them down all at once. So this pass right here is 45. I got the heads on and torque alert down. Intake gaskets are on. I got them glued with RTV. Hopefully they'll stay in place. Well, that there ain't because he's moving around. Be still there, little buddy. Anyway, maybe they'll glue in place. Also, see these holes here and here? I don't know if Chevrolet did that on purpose or not, but a Felpro gasket for an LT1 has 2 little plastic pieces. They pop in there, and it holds it in place. Yes, sir. It only took them 36 years to finally come up with that. Yep. Anyway, let's get some pushing rods in. I got to adjust the valves. And then we'll pour some Earl down in it and then put the intake on. Push rods are in, and I was fixing to start adjusting the valves. Well, you got to rotate the motor over to adjust all the valves. Well, I just put my dial indicator on cylinder 1, found top dead center. I was, you've got to put the dampener on, make us a pointer and mark the dampener, and that'll be, 0, top dead center. So we got to get the dampener on because I don't want to, turn that motor over just yet. So I remembered last night, after I turned the camera off, I used to be eat up with LT1s, because of that Trans Am. Well, I ain't worked on them in 10 years. And I've forgotten everything I knew about them. But after turning the camera off, I remember you have to have an all thread. It's 7/16 fine thread. All thread and a nut. And you had to push that dampener on like that. So I used to have a piece. I don't know where it's at. I may have to run to town and get some. So let me work on that. And then when I get back, get that done, we'll adjust the valves. Here's what I come up with. This is 2 7/16 fine thread bolts. Cut the head off of one, welded them together. I'm gonna use this stack of washers here to go in the hole to push against. I think it'll work. Let's try it out. I'm hoping all these washers stacked up like that will act as a, we call it a thrust bearing type deal. That's the plan anyways. I might have to take a couple of them off. Let's just see what happens right here. Oh yeah, she's going on. Yes, sir. And if I run out of threads, all I gotta do is back this bolt off and put some more washers on, but I think we'll be okay. I need to put this in my toolbox and remember what it's for, because I'll forget next week probably. Well, my weld is broke, so that's good. That ain't worth crap there. Huh. Well, let me see if I can't weld it back. I got everything out, and I thought, well, maybe I just don't know how to weld, but the actual weld broke. It didn't break free from the base metal. So that means I might know how to weld. I beveled both ends pretty good too. Anyways, let me go weld it up again. Well, I put me a long, deep bevel on her this time. Let's see if she'll act right now. We don't like a whole lot getting there. We may be there. It's hard to tell if I'm still moving. Yeah, I think we're still moving. Or I'm fixing to break again. It feels kind of weird. Yep, it broke. What in the devil? Y'all remember me complaining about that wire, that roll of wire? I just bought it. What were we welding on? I don't remember. The exhaust on, what's his name? Silver Bullet. I think I'm going to take that wire out there and throw it away because it broke on the weld again. It didn't pull from the base metal. Yeah, I'm going to probably throw that roll of wire away and get another one. All right, here's what I did this time. I found a really long 7/16 coarse thread bolt. Cut the threads off the end and tapped it the whole way pretty much with fine thread. Let's see what we do with this. It may be on all the way. I can't really tell because my bolt keeps breaking. So maybe we'll be able to tell here in a minute. Let us see if we're going to strip the threads or what's going to happen. I think it's on. That may be why that bolt was breaking. Oh yeah, it's got to be on because that's pretty tight. We're going to say it's on. Yep. I ain't got a pulley or nothing to line it up with to tell if it's on or not, but I'm going to say it's on. Yep. This does have a certain way it goes because the bolt holes are not symmetrical or whatever you want to call it. Well, I just turned it, so that means we're not on top dead center anymore. So we'll have to do something there. That one goes. That one goes. That one goes. All right. Fooey on making a pointer for now because, you know, I turned it a little bit so we're not on top dead center anymore. I'll have to stick something in the spark plug hole and just sort of gauge by feel. It ain't got to be dead on. It ain't a race motor. We ain't looking for every half a horsepower. I made this piston stop, I think, when we were working on Dude's motor. It's just a spark plug with some thread or whatever welded to the end of it. It's really crooked. I don't know what happened there, but it works. This is what we use to find top dead center after a while. We'll have to use a degree wheel. Let's set the valve lash. This is how you do it. You take this hand here, you spin the push rod whilst you're tightening up the rocker arm. As soon as you feel any resistance, stop. And then give it another half a turn, and you're done. You have to make sure your lifter is on the base of the cam. How do you find that out? Well, let me tell you. You rotate the motor over. When you see your intake valve has quit moving, well then I'll go a little bit more, and you know you're starting up on the compression stroke. Therefore, both valves will be closed. You can do both valves for that cylinder. I will go through the firing order 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2, and that's how I do it. I'm feeling just a wee bit of resistance now, so I'm gonna go half a turn, and that's it. I'll do this in the same way. There's my resistance. Half a turn and done. Now, like I said, you go through the firing order. This is 1, 8's over here. It looks like it's on top dead center because both of those lifters look down. But just to make sure, we'll just run it through. Yep, ain't neither one of them moving. There goes the exhaust valve up. Now the intake is coming up. Now it's going down. And I'll go, I don't know, you can go quarter turn. And then you know for sure you're on the coming up on the compressor stroke, so both valves are closed. I'll adjust them like I did this one and then keep going through the firing order. I'll be back when I get done with it. Valves, they are adjusted. And let me show you something right here. I don't know if I can get the camera in there close enough, but this spider leg right here, you know, these are supposed to hold the dog bones down. The dog bones keep your lifters from turning. Well, that leg on that spider, see it moving? It ain't touching the dog bone. That could have been absolutely disastrous. Yes, sir. That dog bone would have popped up and then your lifters would have turned and wiped the cam. Yeah, could have been disastrous. Let me pull this out, do a little bending on it, and then hopefully it'll be all right. We'll put it back in. Got the spider situation fixed. They're all gootin' tight, pushing down on them dog bones. Now, let's just test fit the intake. See if our bolt hole's gonna line up, or did I screw up big time? Oh yeah, I think she'll work just fine and dandily. So let me get some RT and V, run some bead across either end, put this intake on. After, I almost forgot, got to pour some oil in here. Hiya! Ooh, hiya! Drink up, little buddy, drink up. I like to put a little dab under the end of that intake gasket. I always get nervous putting the intake on because I'm afraid I'm going to mess my RT and V up. To make sure my gaskets are right. Here we go. All right, let me get some bolts, put them in. We'll put the end bolts in first. There's my thread sealer. Remember, we discussed that because I drilled through on one of them. All right, let me get the rest of these bolts in and we'll torque them down. Yes, sir. The intake, it's off of it. Sure is. I had 2 holes, these 2 middle ones right here, They just did not line up. No, sir. These holes are a little too high up on the head. Took it back off. I drilled and watered out all these holes here with a 1/2-inch drill. If they still don't line up, well, we're going to leave them off. Yes, sir. But this has got to run tonight. This is Tuesday night, fellas. The video comes out tomorrow. Still got to put the intake on. We got to go through that carburetor. Well, there's some stuff on the intake we got to block off. We got to get it on the run stand. I got to have hoses, and gonna be a long night. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Intake is on and torque alert down. Everything seems to be okay, so that's awesome. I still got lots of knick-knack bullcrap stuff to do. We got to prime the oil system. I need to take that off because it's ugly. There's no water that flows through here on a LT1, so there's no need to plug. I probably will eventually just to plug the hole up, keep critters from getting down in there. Got to put a plug there. What else we got to do? I got to block that off, block that off, block that off. Got to have headers, distributor, get it timed. Got to find top dead center, make a timing mark. Got to have header. Did I mention headers? I think I did. Got to get it on the run stand, get all the hoses, all the gauges hooked up. I got to look through that, make sure it's not stopped up. Hopefully it's not. Check the jets to see what size they are. What I'm trying to tell you is I got lots and lots to do. I'm fixing to turn the camera off and get it done. When I come back, hopefully we'll be sitting right over yonder in that doorway fixing to fire up. Well, it's been several hours, yes, several hours since I last talked to y'all. But I do think we are done. We are ready, yes, sir. Well, let me show you something real quick, though. Here's the eBay carburetor, and yeah, she's in pretty bad shape. Yes, sir. Look at the bowl, pretty bad. I'll have to clean that up later. This is the carb off of, what's this called? This Ford Silver Bullet, yep. It's going on this motor anyway. That 750 is going on it. So I figured, well, let's just go ahead and rob it. Yep. My knees, I've been at this several hours, like going on 12 hours. My knees they're toast. Yep, I've done took a second dose of Tylenol for the day. I can see the finish line though. So even if I have to crawl, we're gonna hear this thing run here in just a minute. Let me get it to the door. I gotta hook a gravity feed fuel system up because LT1s, they don't have provision for mechanical fuel pump. So let me get this rolled to the door right here and get a fuel tank hooked up, battery hooked up, and we'll be ready to go. Well, I got it full of wooders. I got this gas tank set up. I reckon it's time to go whompow and a whompow. Fire in the hole. Let's give her, let's see, that turns that way. I get confused now because I've been working on Fords. Let's do that right there, see what happens. Come on, feller. Oh, I think I went the wrong way there. There we go. We're a little closer, but I don't know why it's wanting to pop back through the carburetor. Ooh, she sounds pretty good. Probably cold. Oh, you know what? It's acting like we got a vacuum leak because that's what we've got. I forgot about the big port back there. Let me plug it up. Yeah, I didn't think it was acting right. All right, let's give her a try now. That sounds a lot better. Yep. Yep. Well, here's the deal, fellers. It's very late, and this thing's very loud, even with those mufflers. I got neighbors right there, and I don't want to be a bad neighbor. I don't want to make them mad and wake them up. So I'm gonna go on in the house, do all my editing that I can. As soon as I get up tomorrow, we'll come out here and fire this thing up, and we'll go a one pow, see what it sounds like. Let it sit there and warm up, and make sure everything's gonna be okay. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Arthur's visiting today. He really is. I can sure tell. I worked 12 hours yesterday. Yeah, it hurts pretty bad. I was too rough on my body in my younger days to be doing this now. Also, by the way, what would y'all like to see me do with that car? I got an idea of what I want to do. It's just a pile of junk, so we might as well just do whatever we want to with it. Anyway, y'all let me know what you'd like to see out of that car. Let's get in here, get this thing running again, check the oil pressures, and make sure it ain't got no knocks and bangs in it. Fire in the hole. About 66 psi of cold oil pressure. Watch that RPM needle. It's got a wee bit of a mist that'll pick up every once in a while. We'll let her warm up, see what it does. It's just now starting to warm up a little bit. It runs pretty good, but there's a hesitation when you're flipping the throttle. And I think I told y'all this before. The squirter in there, I think, is too big. So I need to change that out, put a smaller one in there. I think it's basically flooding it out when you tip it in. That's a pretty good stream. Yep. We'll have to work on that sometime. But seems to run pretty decent, other than that little hitch in its giddy up. She's warming up. That's about, well, it's dropping now. It was about 190. It was peeing an excessive amount of water out of the overflow, but that's quit too, so maybe she's gonna settle down and cool down. Well, it quit on me. It needs some carb work. I just tried to eyeball my timing. I made a mark off of this flat surface straight out and then put a mark on that. I've just been holding that sort of level, and it's got about 25 degrees, best I can tell. We got to make us a timing tab and a better mark on that, but it'll do for now. She's definitely warmed up, a little over 180. We got 50 psi of oil pressure. I might have told y'all wrong a little while ago. Anyway, it's sitting there running pretty good. It's still got that little mist in it. I don't know what that is, but it's only at idle. Boy, she sounds good. That's all I can tell you. About 35-ish hot oil pressure, so that ain't bad. Getting a little bit warmer all the time, but I mean, Look at the fan I got. That ain't too bad. It's cooling back down to about 190. Let's see what kind of RPM she'll do. Not bad at all. It still sounds and acts like it's got a miss. I revved it up to 2,000 and pulled each spark plug wire off the distributor. When I got to number 8, it didn't act like it was doing much. No, sir, I don't think it's contributing to the party very much. I'm going to set y'all up on the camera stand. I'm gonna pull number 8 plug wire off. Y'all listen to the RPM, the tone of the motor. It never changes. I believe number 8's dead. Well, she started boiling as soon as I turned it off. The LT1 cooling system is weird, I guess, because that reverse flow cooling stuff. This pipe right here, like the radiator on my car, it is an outlet also. It goes to the radiator, including this one. I don't know if that being plugged like I got it, it's going to make it run a little warmer. I don't know. I'll have to do some study on that and see what I can come up with. But y'all heard number 8, the tone of the motor never changed. So number 8 is dead. I don't know what's going on, but we're going to have to figure it out. Just a reminder about Patreon. It's my fault. In my haste of anger, we'll say, you know, I shut her down. The ones that joined, I think y'all need to go rejoin if you want to. If you don't, well, that's fine too. I'm just reminding you, if you want to, well, you probably going to have to go rejoin. Hot idle oil pressure dropped down to about 30. I'm okay with that. I've had a lot worse and they still ran fine. And it may not be an actual loose motor, but it's what I call a loose motor. 3/4 thousandths clearance on rods. That's loose to me. Anyways, it'll be just fine and dandly. It's just another typical backyard butchery rebuild. Oh yeah. We're out of time. Video is due tonight. So I got to get in the house and do some editing and whatnot. Next week or sometime, maybe this evening, I may pull all the plugs out and do a compression check. We got to figure out what's going on with that number 8 because, yes, sir, it is completely dead. Be looking for that next week. Anyways, appreciate y'all watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you don't mind, hit that like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends. And until next time, go do something. Blur.